And we're back. I am Monina Wagner. I am the community manager for Content Marketing Institute. Thank you for joining us again today. CMI, if you're not familiar with us, CMI's mission is to advance the practice of content marketing. So we do that with our daily blog. We do that with our events like Content Marketing World, our magazine, and also consulting work. As we begin, we want to say a special shout out to Restream for sponsoring today's discussion and literally helping us bring it to life. And we also want to say thank you to everyone who joined us yesterday and to all of our new viewers today. It is a beautiful day here in Cleveland. And I want to know if you could take a moment and let us know in the comments where you are watching from. And if you leave us a comment today, you have a chance to win a CMI mug. Let's see, who is joining us? Hi, Ryan, and to Karen. Tell me where you guys are from. So we have Patrick in Slovakia, which is fantastic. Yes, hopefully, hello to all you beautiful people as well. While you're in the comments, why don't you go ahead? We'd love for you to answer our question of the day. Our question of the day is to how you plan to move forward with your marketing after COVID-19, which is part of what we're going to be talking about today. So today, as I mentioned, we have this wonderful lineup and this wonderful discussion set up for you today. It would be an understatement for me to say that 2020 has upended our content marketing strategies. Absolutely. So every year, Susan Baier and also Drew McLellan, they team up and they conduct the Agency Edge research, which helps their agency clients and their peers. This year, you can only imagine what they found out. They are here today, and they're going to be diving into the data with the Vice President of Marketing here at CMI, Kathy McPhillips. Kathy, I am very excited for this.
I am too. I love talking to Drew and Susan. Any chance I can get.
I will hand it off to you.
Well, thanks, Mo. This is going to be fun. So I've known Drew and Susan's research well before I knew Drew and Susan. I read it a long time ago, and it's something that I've followed for a number of years. So welcome to you both. For those joining us, if you don't know Drew McLellan and Susan Baier, Susan is the founder of Audit. And Drew McLellan runs the Agency Management Institute, and they have been CMI supporters, Content Marketing World speakers. Every year they come and talk about their research, and it gives us a lot of detail and information that we can carry on for the next year. And they've really helped us grow our agency audience at Content Marketing World and really make sure that the programming we're doing is beneficial for their audience. So thank you both for being here. I'm really excited for this.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
So real quick, Susan, you are turning the corner on year 22 of your company. Tell us a little bit about what your team does.
I don't think it's 22. I think it's 12. I'm turning the year on 12 for this company. Yeah. So I founded Audience Audit at the height of the recession, and we do custom attitudinal segmentation research for agencies and their clients. And that's how Drew and I connected many years ago. Because we serve the same folks, agency marketers and their clients, and just trying to give them helpful information to work on when they're making strategic plans and tactical decisions.
Fantastic. And Drew, AMI, we've known AMI for a while, and you were initially, sounds like what commercial, you were initially a customer, and now you run the place. So
yeah, it's hair replacement guys, right? I was a customer, and look at my hair now. Yeah, so my agency is 25 years old, and I was a client of the precursor to AMI for many years, bought it about 15 years ago, and have been doing both. I still run my agency, and then I run AMI as well. And AMI's goal is to serve small to mid-sized agencies and help them be more sustainable, more scalable, make more money, and keep more of the money they make. That we focus on the running of the business of the agency. So that's where we spend our time.
Great. So you've done the research now. This is year 7. You started it in 2014. So this is 7th.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So tell us, Drew, tell me a little bit why you started doing the research.
Susan and I were talking about that we sort of serve this mutual audience, and that there would be incredible value if we put our heads together, and we because we talk to so many agency owners, we know what's on their mind and what they're worried about. If we put our heads together and did a research project that would really give agency owners some insights that would help them run their business better, that would be incredibly valuable. And so we started in 2014, and every year we pick a different topic and we just dive deep into that topic with the research. And then as you mentioned, for the last several years, we've been fortunate enough to be able to unveil that research. So we keep it mum's the word until we get to content marketing world, and then we share it with that audience first.
So this is really your biggest piece of content marketing, honestly, that your company, the two of you are doing, because I'm sure that between your webinars and you're emailing it to your customers, that it really shows you as thought leaders. So every year it seems you pick a different theme of the research.
Yeah, I mean, part of the fun of it for us is to see what we can come up with based on what we're hearing to help with sort of new topics for agency owners to think about.
Yeah, so this year was an obvious one. What are we going to talk about in 2020?
Well, you say that, but we started this process. We started working on this year's study, and we were really planning on asking folks, agency clients, what they were going to do if there was a recession. But then the recession happened, and we were able to quickly pivot and adjust and ask agency clients how they were dealing with what had become a reality, and a significant one. We fielded this study the end of June through mid-July, and April through June was the worst quarter on record. So it ended up being very timely in terms of being able to sort of make that adjustment.
Right. So when I dove into the research a little bit in the webinar, and a couple of things I noticed, you talk about there's three groups of marketers. There's the distressed, the pragmatic, and the steadfast. Interestingly, I thought I could have been any one of those over the past 10 months. Drew, can you tell me a little bit about, or tell the audience a little bit about what each of those marketers look like?
Yeah, so back to your earlier question. So we were ready to go into the field in mid-February, and then we could see that something was coming, and so we stopped. Unfortunately, we were able to pivot. So what we ended up then asking was, how are you reacting to COVID? How is this impacting your marketing, and how is it impacting your agencies? And three distinct groups bubbled up from those questions. And I will tell you that I was a little worried about what we were going to find. I thought it was going to be very doom and gloom. And actually what we found is that of these three segments, the two segments, the pragmatic and the steadfast, actually are looking at COVID as, every 10 years or so, the economy has a dip, and we're just going to plow through this. So the distressed folks, which were about 30% of our respondents, they are uber concerned. This is the group of clients, if you're an agency owner, that is basically freaking out. And so they have deep concerns about the recession and its impact on both their business, their customers' business, and even the agencies they work with. These people also were most likely to have had a very difficult time in the Great Recession. So they're carrying some of that baggage to this current recession because they had such a tough time in 2007, 2008. But they are expecting, they're shutting down a lot of their spending. They are very slow to make any buying decisions, and they are pinching pennies at every turn. The pragmatic folks, which were about 40% of the respondents, they actually see COVID and the recession that followed, the spring sort of explosion of COVID in the US. They see it as an opportunity. They see that other competitors are going to be cutting back, are going to be slowing down, and now is the time for them to pour some gas on the fire. So these guys are actually looking to increase their spending and get more bold and aggressive with their marketing because they see their competitors taking to the sidelines, and they want to take advantage of that clear lane. And then the third group, the steadfast group, again, about 30% of the respondents, they are sort of the steady eddies. They're like, you know what? This is business as usual. Yes, it comes with a pandemic, but in terms of the recession and our business, we're going to just gut this out. So we're going to stay the course. I'm still being held for the same goals that were probably set for me prior to COVID reaching the US. And I am very focused on achieving those goals. So I'm not gonna spend less. I might move my spending around, but I still have some big goals to accomplish, and my agency partners need to help me do that.
Okay. So Susan, I have a question for you. So when I was reading this, it reminded me back in March when I was like, okay, I really need to cut back on my budget. We need to watch our spending, our family spending. And I called AT&T and I said, I would need to lower my bill. And they said, what do you want to cut? And I'm like, well, nothing. So I know they did. They cut my, but it seems like a lot of agency clients are saying the same thing. They're going to the agencies saying, I need to lower my spend, but I kind of expect the same thing. And you know, how are agencies handling that? And can they afford to handle that?
Well, I mean, I think that that's a common request for agencies to get regardless from clients. You know, can I get more with less? I think what's important for agencies to think about on the heels of this research is that they may be asking for different reasons. You know, that distressed group is really struggling and they're looking to their agency to help them figure out how to survive this. That's very different from those pragmatic folks who are looking for actually new opportunities for spending. So while they may be interested in getting some cost reductions, it's likely because they think they can. You know, they believe they're in a buyer's market, and they may not be wrong, but they're not looking to save money by hoarding it. They're looking for where it makes sense to make some adjustments so that they can go out and get some great deals. And I think that's important for agencies to think about in terms of understanding where everybody's headspace is on this so that they can respond to that request effectively.
So I'll throw this one at you, Drew. So how do you decide where your clients fall on that spectrum?
Yeah, so there are certainly clues that you can look for to sort of, so whenever we do our research and you know, this is, Susan does the segmentation research. So our research always looks the same in terms of that we notice different groups of agencies or clients acting in a certain way. So the first thing agencies want to do is they want to typecast their clients. So we've gotten into the habit now where we automatically identify, here are some clues or some questions. So the distressed people are going to show up. They're going to reference the past recession a lot. They are going to seem very anxious about losing their job, that their company might go under. They're going to talk in very frightened terms and very dramatic, big, overblown terms. The pragmatic folks, they are not really consuming a lot of news, economic news around this, because they don't think it's a big deal for their business or their customers. And so they see this as a normal economic cycle. And so these are going to be people who are pretty calm about the recession and actually are pushing their agency to bring them big, bold ideas. Where the Steadfast folks, these are folks who are consuming a lot of news. So one of the things they're going to want from their agency is, what do you know? So a smart agency is going to say, you know what, I'm going to reach out to my media vendors, the trade show associations that I know, and I'm going to try and gather information so we can be a news source to our clients. So the Steadfast folks, they're gathering data all the time. So they want facts to make their decisions. The distressed people don't want to make any decisions at all. And the pragmatic folks are just barreling ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's important for folks to remember, Kathy, that as you look into this research, it's clear that this isn't a function of how big they are, how their revenue levels, their budgets, how many people they have on their internal team. So you really have to get yourself out of that sort of approach of thinking, well, it's the little guys who are freaking out. It isn't. It's little guys and big guys and mid-sized guys. So it's really what Drew's talking about, like focusing on where their minds are with respect to this whole problem and trying to address it from that standpoint is where you're going to have luck. Yeah.
So it's focusing on where they fall, not trying to get them to move to a different group.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
I don't think you can get them to move. I don't, their mindset, they have so many beliefs that drive them to sort of one of these positions that it would be very difficult, even if you're a really trusted partner, to drag somebody from the distressed to the Pragmatic. So it's really for us as agency owners and leaders, just like always, is to figure out where your client's at and meet them there and be helpful wherever they're at.
So to that point, you gave some really good ideas in the report on what, if you have this group and if you're looking at budgets or planning or things like that, some action step items you could take. If someone's looking at this for the first time, someone watching, what's the best approach you have? Is like, do you go to your management? Do you try to segment out where your clients all fit? How does someone take your information and run with it? Susan, do you want to take that one?
Well, I'm going to let Drew start with that one because he's dealing with agencies on the ground every day. So he's got a lot of experience already.
So I think you start by trying to sort of identify some clues as to where your clients are. And by the way, this is also incredibly valuable as you're out looking for new clients as well. You can ask some questions in the prospecting stage to sort of get a sense of where they're at. And then I think it's about how you approach them. So, for the distressed folks, you really have to take this as seriously as they do. You need to be helping them identify how they can trim their budget. And again, it may not be your agency fees, it may be other things, but how do you get them to trim their budget? But as you were saying with your AT&T example, but still let them get as much as they can out of the dollars they spend. The more you show them that you're being a good steward of their money and that you're taking this as seriously as they are, the more they're going to relax and trust your guidance. The other thing you need to do with those folks is you need to show them examples of how other companies are managing through this that they can emulate and follow. With the Pragmatic folks, they are the most opportunistic of the three groups. So you are going to have to show them that you are helping them manage their budget. As Susan said, they see this as it's a buyer's market. So let's make sure we're really squeezing the media or production folks for the best value we can get. But I want to stand out in the marketplace because I think things are quiet and I can really claim center stage. So they're expecting us to bring them big ideas. And the Steadfast folks, what they're very focused on is they're the steady Eddie. So their whole focus is on, I have to achieve my goals by year end or I'm not going to get a raise, a bonus, keep my budget, whatever their concern may be. So we have to be very goal oriented with them and help them basically block and tackle. They're not going to do anything crazy. So we need to bring them basic ideas. They're going to help them march their way to the goals.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm just going to toss it back to you. Do you have anything else you want to talk about with the report? I know that you have a webinar coming up in December, and we'll share the link at the end of this. Anything you've seen over the past few months as the your agency partners have evolved since the pandemic has hit and is continuing?
I think what's been interesting is to see the response to this research from agency owners who see this in their clients and in their prospects, even though they may not have thought about it this way. And as Drew said, the fact that 70% of these folks are not panicking and they're either looking for outright increases in spending for new opportunities or very open to spending trade-offs if they're strategic so they can get sort of more out of what they're spending. That has been really interesting. And in the full study, which we'll share in the webinar that we're going to talk about, we've got information on where they're going to stop spending, where they're going to increase spending, very specifically by tactics. So if you're an agency owner listening to this, what we're talking about now is sort of the overview, but there's a ton of detail in here about what they want and where they want things to be happening and the kinds of things that agencies can do to help them, whether they are in one segment or in another segment.
And if you're a brand marketer watching, send this to your agency so they can learn how they can help you.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Or if you're a brand manager, sort of recognize where you fall in this spectrum. And honestly, what makes you a great partner is to say to your agency, look, I'm freaking out about this and I've got to cut my budget and you need to understand that. And being really candid with your agency about where you're at and letting them help you accomplish your goals. The more clear you are about sort of your intentions, your worries, the pressures that you're experiencing, the better your agency can come alongside you and help.
Well, one of the stats I noticed was it said, my agency cares about me. And the number was really low. And it was just like, that just seems like such a basic thing. Maybe this is the time to really show your clients how much you value and care for them as clients and as people.
Yeah, and it aligns with things we've seen in previous years' research where we see some clients for whom that is honestly not that big a deal. They got multiple agencies, they consider, agencies fairly interchangeable, so that relationship isn't important to them. But for a lot of these folks, it is very important to them. And, we see sort of optimism on the part of these clients who are more likely to say their agency not only cares about their organization and its success, but cares about them. And I think Drew's exactly right. I mean, our research since 2014 has been focused on improving the conversations between agencies and their clients and clients and their agencies. And I think that, it's just helpful to realize that type of a relationship, a close relationship, may not be as important to some clients as others, but in this case, understanding where even a pragmatic client is can give an agency a tremendous amount of information to help that client be more successful. And there isn't a client who doesn't want that.
Most definitely. That was one of the things when I was working at agency eons ago. We never had, it wasn't clients, it wasn't vendors, it was partners. That's what we want. We want to have that relationship because we're all so busy. We need someone to help us do the things we don't have time to do or don't have the talents to do. That's why you hire agencies, right? So this is really cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else you want to throw in while we're here? So the agency link is below. Mo put that in there for us. And then December, you want to talk about December and give that information?
Yeah, so in December 17th at noon Central, Susan and I are going to be live, and we're going to walk whoever joins us through all of the data. And then the participants will be able to ask us, well, how did women respond, or how did people over 40 respond? And we're able to segment out the data so that you will be able to sort of see exactly how your clients, or what from your lens you want to see. And we're happy, usually we're there 60, 90 minutes. We're happy to do a very deep dive into the data and answer any and all questions people may have. So we would love it if people join us. It doesn't cost anything. There's no upsell. We just want to get this information into the hands of as many people as possible.
And the other thing participants get is access to an interactive visualization of all of these results that you can use and look at for your own organization based on how big you are, or how, what your marketing team looks like, or the percentage of work that you're typically outsourcing, or how many agencies you work with. So all of that data that we're going to go through in the webinar, you're going to have access to play with yourself as well.
Yep.
Well, thank you. This was really fun.
Thank you. Super fun to talk with you.
And we'll see you online.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.